So now Tucker Carlson says the CIA was reading his texts and possibly preparing a criminal referral against him. If that is true, that is a huge deal. But the real question is, why would the CIA even be involved? Let us break this down.
The other day, I found out that the CIA is preparing some kind of criminal referral against me, a crime report, to the Department of Justice on the basis of a supposed crime I committed. What's that crime? Well, talking to people in Iran before the war. They read my texts. So the crime under consideration apparently would be the Foreign Agent Act or something like that, acting as an agent of a foreign power. And I don't expect this to go anywhere. I'm not too worried about an actual criminal case against me for a bunch of reasons. One, I'm not an agent of a foreign power. Unlike a lot of people commenting on U.S. politics and global affairs, I have only one loyalty, and that's the United States, and have never acted against it. Its interests are the only interests I care about because I'm from here and I have a lot of kids. So that's not a concern. I've also never taken money from anybody. Don't need it, don't want it, and that's provable. And moreover, it's my job to talk to everybody all the time and try and figure out what's happening around the world. That's literally what I do for a living, and I'm not going to stop doing that.
Foreign Agents Registration Act. The Foreign Agents Registration Act, FARA, is a United States federal law enacted in 1938, requiring individuals and organizations acting as agents of foreign principals to publicly disclose their relationships, activities, and financial transactions. It serves as a transparency measure to inform the government and the public of foreign influence efforts within the U.S. Key facts enacted, 1938. Administered by U.S. Department of Justice, National Security Division, FAR Unit. Purpose: disclosure of foreign political and public relations activities. Applies to agents, foreign principals engaged in political or public influence efforts. Penalties: civil and criminal sanctions for willful non-compliance. Background and purpose: FARA was originally adopted amid concerns about Nazi propaganda in the U.S. It was designed to ensure that the American public and policymakers could identify information and lobbying efforts undertaken on behalf of foreign powers. While it does not restrict such activities, it mandates registration and disclosure to promote transparency and accountability in foreign influence operations. Registration requirements: any individual or organization representing a foreign principal, such as a foreign government, political party, or entity, must register with the Department of Justice. Registrants must file detailed statements describing their activities, income, and expenditures connected to the foreign principal. These records are made publicly accessible through the FARA website, allowing oversight of political and lobbying activities with foreign ties. Some conservatives are actually criticizing Tucker Carlson over this. Laura Loomer said, "If he gets arrested, we will know he is a traitor to America and he violated FARA. We have laws in America. When you break them, you go to jail. Tucker Carlson is not above the law." Carl Palmer said, "We all know Tucker sat down with Iranian leaders before February 28. He has demonstrated and articulated his sympathy for Islam as well as his disdain for Israel and the Jewish people. His actions are clear. What is clear? Carlson is a traitor, like Julian Assange and Edward Snowden." David D. Chapman. Another thing on Tucker Carlson. The CIA likely was not spying on Tucker Carlson. America was about to go to war with Iran. The CIA was spying on Iran. Remember, America knew exactly when and where 40 Iranian officials were going to be at once. The CIA knew Tucker was talking to Iran not because the CIA was spying on Tucker Carlson, but because the CIA was spying on an enemy of America and caught Tucker Carlson red-handed. But not everyone on the right agrees with those criticisms. Some are actually defending Tucker Carlson, arguing that if the Central Intelligence Agency really accessed his texts, that raises serious concerns about government surveillance. David Pine said, "Pray for America first conservative hero, Tucker Carlson. If he gets arrested, we will know a foreign power has taken over the U.S. government and we no longer live in a free country, but in a fascist state. I am hoping and praying we do not." This is what Viva Frey said. My take on the Tucker Carlson bombshell, that the CIA is preparing a criminal referral to the DOJ after having spied on his text messages. It is the correct take. Let's take a look.
agent if you are lobbying for or on behalf of foreign interests, foreign entities. The reaction from a great many people on the internet, so-called journalists as well, is shocking, to put it mildly. We'll get there in a second. Some people are suggesting that Tucker is making this up, making a mountain out of a molehill, that there's nothing here, and that we'll see if and when, but for the time being, this might just be fear-mongering. I have a bit of a different take on this, and I think, to the extent that CIA intelligence might have in fact been spying on Tucker Carlson or accessing his text messages, there might be some entirely reasonable justification for that. Tucker Carlson being very close to the president, having just met with the president at the White House, they might want to make sure that Tucker Carlson is not, even if unwittingly, posing something of a risk to President Donald John Trump. So there's not entirely a totally unjustified, nefarious reason for which intelligence agencies might have been spying on Tucker Carlson or looking into his text messages to see who he's collaborating with, coordinating with, discussing with. People on the internet who are jumping on this Tucker Carlson bandwagon, it's the Cancel Tucker tour, and saying that Tucker Carlson is a traitor to the country, that he has committed FARA violations. There are some people out there who I've been getting into it with on the internet suggesting he's committed Logan Act violations, which would be acting for and on behalf of a country to a foreign government without authorization of that company. And I don't think anybody has stopped for 2 seconds to say, what evidence do we have of any wrongdoing by Tucker other than the fact that we might not like his politics?
So when you look at this entire situation involving Tucker Carlson, you can clearly see why the reaction has been so divided. On one side, there are critics, even within conservative circles, who believe Carlson may be creating unnecessary controversy or potentially undermining the administration. Some commentators argue that raising these claims publicly could distract from other political priorities or complicate ongoing political debates. But on the other side, many supporters see this story very differently. They argue that if a journalist or political commentator claiming that the Central Intelligence Agency accessed private text messages, that is a very serious allegation. For them, the concern is not simply about Tucker Carlson himself, but about a much bigger issue, the role of intelligence agencies and the limits of government surveillance. And then there is a legal aspect that we talked about earlier in the video, the Foreign Agents Registration Act, also known as FARA. This law requires individuals who work on behalf of foreign governments or interests to register with the U.S. government. It is a law that has existed for decades, but in recent years it has become more widely discussed in political and media circles. So the real question here may not just be about Tucker Carlson as an individual. The bigger question is about transparency, accountability, and how far government authorities should go when it comes to monitoring communications, especially when journalists or media figures are involved. Some people see this as a legitimate national security issue, while others see it as a potential example of government overreach. And that is why this story has sparked such strong reactions online, especially on platforms like X, where people from across the political spectrum are debating what this could mean. Some believe Carlson is raising an important warning, while others believe the situation is being exaggerated or misinterpreted. At the end of the day, what makes this story interesting is that it shows something we do not always see very often in politics: disagreement within the same political movement. Even among conservatives, there are clearly different perspectives on how this situation should be interpreted and how serious these allegations really are. And as more information comes out, it will be important to watch how this story develops and whether any additional evidence or clarification emerges. But now I want to hear from you. What do you think about this situation? Do you think Tucker Carlson is raising legitimate concerns about government surveillance? Or do you think his critics are right to question his claims? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, because I always like to see what you all think about these stories. And if you enjoy breaking down news and political commentary from a common sense perspective, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you do not miss future videos. This is Common Sense Reacts, and I will see you in the next one.